Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Dos, and today we'll be talking about the slate of games, including Brazil and Morocco, that took place yesterday on Saturday. But before we get into it, I'd appreciate if you all could like, comment, share, and subscribe, right? It would really mean a lot to me and it goes a long way. Thank you. So let's get straight into it. So this was really the biggest game of the tournament thus far. The stars were out for this one in New York yesterday evening. It was one of the best teams in Africa versus one of the best teams in South America. So I'm still a bit confused on the lineup and formation Brazil's manager Carlo Ancelotti chose to play. I had no idea where Rafinha nor Paqueta were playing. It felt very strange seeing them in the middle and then they pop up on the left or they pop up on the right. But that aside, Morocco started the game very well, having the lion's share of possession and chances. The passing was crisp. It seemed every time they needed to find a pass, they found someone in space. And Brazil were really struggling to establish themselves, giving the ball away and conceding chances. After 13 minutes, Morocco had created 6 chances to Brazil's 1, which is insane for Brazil team. It seemed that Vinicius was trying to will his team forward. He created a good chance when crossing it in from the byline, and Thiago made an absolute mess of it, missing the entire ball with his head. He then linked up well with Rafinha to force another corner. And then 2 minutes later, through a counter totally against the run of play, one through ball from Brahim Diaz split the defense and Saibari, bearing down on goal, chipped Allison and Morocco led at the MetLife Stadium. I had no idea what Gabriel was doing, who he was marking, or where he was running to as the ball was being played. But it was poor from himself and Marquinhos, the two Champions League finalists. Morocco were looking in firm control of the tie before and after the hydration break. Brazil were looking far off it. Then totally against the runner play again, Bruno G played in Vinny from the corner of the 18-yard box, and the latter took a couple steps inside and his trademark goal into the far right corner. Bono had no chance. Vinny absolutely lashed it into the goal. It had to be Vinny. He's Brazil's superstar, and he was the only one, in my opinion, that was playing with purpose. Hakimi, who was supposed to be his primary defender, was nowhere near in the picture after bombing down the right-hand side to aid in the attack. This left space for Vinny to exploit and a talent deficit for him to take advantage of. This didn't faze Morocco though. They started playing with their usual intensity and was able to rush Brazil into a couple of clumsy challenges by Casemiro and Ibanez, who picked up a yellow card each in the span of 6 minutes. Brazil then had a good spell of possession with Paqueta getting on the ball, starting a move and nearly finishing it in typical Brazilian fashion on the 47-minute mark. Now, Hakimi caught Vinicius late in the first half, I think in extra time of the first half, with a studs up challenge in stoppage time. And in my opinion, that looked like a red card to me every day of the week. And Vinicius was rightly aggrieved and subsequently argued with the ref about the same. The replay clearly showed the challenge was reckless and warranted at least a yellow card, like at least. I was very surprised that he wasn't punished for that, but I guess Hakimi is Morocco's star player, so he'd be given a little bit more leeway, more so than other players. But getting back to Brazil, I'm also quite bewildered by the decision to pick and stick with Thiago up front. He offered absolutely nothing. He seemed to slow the play down and was far from clinical in the final third. I feel like Endrick needs to be given a chance to show what he's capable of, especially how he played in the last friendly before starting the World Cup. Thiago just isn't it. So after halftime, Ancelotti took off Casemiro and Ibanez because of the yellow cards as a precaution, given how the tournament has been refereed so far and the fire South Americans play with. It could have gone bad rather quickly. So I guess he didn't want to take any chances and just took them off. And Danilo and Fabinho, two seasoned players that brought some more experience and maturity to the side, came on. And the game had basically evened out in the second half. It was evident that Hakimi was intent on bombing forward, leaving his teammate to deal with Vinicius, and they were struggling, but still managed to keep him out. Both teams turned to fouling each other to stop the rhythm of their opponent, which was smart, given how the game was going, very back and forth, but it messed with the flow of the game, and the level of the quality of the game subsequently dropped. So Brazil then began to get a foothold on the game after some substitutions. They began to hold on to possession and create chances. Morocco were feeling it before the hydration break briefly interrupted proceedings. But after it was much of the same, but the Africans always remained so calm and composed on the ball. Number 6 for Morocco, Bouadi, never looked like he was under pressure, flustered, or inexperienced. At 18 years old, the tender age of 18 years old, he was bossing the midfield. Bossing the midfield, which had Bruno G, and had Paqueta, and had Casemiro, and Fabinho. It was like he was gliding around the pitch and always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. It's always refreshing to see a young player look so mature and ready for the moment on the big stages. So a little later on, Rafinha missed a big chance in the 78th minute after linking up with Vinny. And just quickly on Rafinha, he was a non-factor to say the least for most of the match, which is very concerning. He's supposed to be the second best player, and if he gives Vinny anything yesterday, helps him in any way, they win that match. As a Barcelona fan, I'm not sure if he's feeling the pressure because of the rumored exit from the club or if it was just simply tactics and formation that led to him being off his game. But I was extremely disappointed in his performance. You can tell he was also disappointed as well by the way he just took off his jersey and sat on the field after the game. He did not play like a Brazilian, and he knows it. He needs to be better moving forward if Brazil want to have any chance in the knockout rounds. I swear, he needs to do way better. So the final 10 minutes of normal time and 10 minutes of extra time, I knew it was going to finish 1-1 as a draw. Morocco held onto the ball for long periods and looked comfortable holding on to the draw. I think this was a result deserved by both teams. It was an entertaining game between two teams no one wants to see in this tournament. I have Brazil winning the group, but I think they must improve on the field and tactically if they want to have a chance. The personnel needs to be revised and they could use a bit more energy and juice all round. And Neymar should not have been on the bench wearing a hat and earrings like myself. I mean, he was just there to be a distraction. He should have been in the stands. It was not a good look seeing him there and then trying to coach up his teammates during the hydration break, and they didn't even look interested. They were like, bro, we got it. Just relax. You over there, we over here. Just, we have it. Come back when you're healthy, hombre. Just, stop being a distraction. You're one of the greatest players ever, but you're injured. Shouldn't be on the subs bench, right? So, yeah, that game was pretty good. Quickly on the other fixtures, Scotland versus Haiti. Scotland can count themselves lucky, lucky, lucky boys to have won against Haiti. Haiti played a great game and they were unfortunate to concede via a deflected John McGinn shot. They deserved to get something from the game and it just looked like the more experienced team got the 3 points. Haiti were playing confident, being progressive and showing a bit of skill to break through the lines. They just lacked a bit of quality and star power in the final third. Scotland looked solid, but you could have told that they also knew they were being played off the park by a team that hadn't been to the World Cup in over 50 years. At the end of the day, however, a win is a win, and no one is going to care how you win once you win. The name of the game is win and advance. Scotland now take a much-needed 3 points to settle into top spot after the first round of matches in Group C. Now, I didn't watch the Qatar versus Switzerland game, but it finished 1-1, and now everyone in Group B after one match is on 1 point. So really, first place in the group is anyone's to take. In that group, I believe it's Qatar, Switzerland, Canada, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Right? So everyone in that group is on 1 point after the first round of matches. I must say, though, you cannot score early, not get a second goal, and expect to finish the game with a win. 1-0 is a scary scoreline to have no matter what point of the match it is because the opponent is always going to feel like they have a chance. It was expected that Qatar would score, even if it was from an own goal, which it was. When you go up, you have to do everything in your power to stay up because those below are scratching and clawing to get to where you are. Shout out to Qatar, though, for securing their first ever point at a World Cup. It was much deserved. And then finally, the late game. I think everyone was surprised to see Turkey fall to Australia. A 2-0 defeat was a fair result in Australia's favour, despite the overwhelming statistics for Turkey. Turkey had 30 shots and did not score any. And when you don't take your chances, you're going to pay the ultimate price every time. 2 brilliant goals either side of halftime and some resolute last-ditch defending from the Socceroos claimed a much-needed 3 points. They would have gained a lot of confidence from upsetting the Turks and will need a whole lot more. They play the hosts United States this Friday in Washington. So just looking ahead to the games today, guys, We have Germany playing Curacao at 1 p.m. in Houston. We have the Netherlands playing Japan at 4 p.m. in Dallas. Ivory Coast playing Ecuador at 7 p.m. in Philadelphia. And at 10 p.m., we have Sweden playing Tunisia in Monterrey, Mexico. So we're looking forward to those games. Definitely looking forward to the Germany game, the Netherlands Japan game, and pretty excited between Ivory Coast and Ecuador. I think that would be a good game. Predicting those games, I think Germany is going to win quite comfortably against Curacao. I have that being 3-0. I think Netherlands and Japan are going to be a much tighter affair, but I have Netherlands edging it 2-1. Ivory Coast against Ecuador, I believe, is going to be a bit of a low scoring affair because of how good Ecuador's defense is and how weak their attack is. So I think Ivory Coast is going to struggle to score against Ecuador's defense, but I think Ecuador is going to struggle to score against anyone because of the lack of quality in the final third for them. So guys, drop any comments. Let me know who y'all have in today's matches. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.